everyone. We are delighted to have with us our guest Mr. Divyendu Shekhar as part of our interview series through the corporate lens. Divyendu is our alumnus from the batch of 2007. Apart from his entrepreneurial ventures, Divyendu has been associated with organizations like General Electric and Payback. He is presently the Director of Product Management at Indifi. With such a stellar corporate experience, Divyendu has gained more than 10 years of business development and PLN management experience in software as a service and payments business. For this interview session, we are joined by Associate Professor Dr. Manish Sinha. Now I request Manish sir to please take this interview forward.
Thank you, Jyotirmay. Divyendu, it's just such a pleasure to talk to you uh, because, the moment I was told that I have to talk to you, my memory right from the day when you came for your interview and group discussion. So if I remember correctly, I either was there as an adjudicator in an interview or a group discussion for your group. And ever since then, you were there in my class, and ever since then, when you were a student, uh, and I'm not saying this just because you're there in front of me. I've always felt that here is a very, very bright student. I'm always very impressed. But what was more impressive about Divyendu was that he had this unique capacity to take a stand based on logic, based on sound knowledge and sound argument, which invariably or most of the times would go against majoritarianism. And he had the capacity to back it up. He always showed those sparks where he could take decisions which was always away from the crowd. So, I think all of us would be very, very interested in knowing post SMHRD, how has your career shaped out? It'll be nice if you can take us through that, because that is the thing that will inspire everybody who's listening to it.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot for the introduction that you've given me. And thanks a lot for remembering me for such a long time. There are a few things that you pointed out on decision making, on taking a stand, and those things. I think that I didn't learn it. Those were the capabilities that got built through the institution that I was a part of. And that was because, you want to become a part of the institution because you get to interact with certain amount of faculties or peers, or the network that you build. I think when I was trying to, and I will go a step back and I will tell you very clearly, we all have options in our lives. When a person who gives the CAT exams, so CAT, maybe he will have 5 interviews or 6 interviews, and he'll have 3 offer letters or something of that sort. Similar things happen in jobs. But then you evaluate from your side as well as a candidate, as well as a person, what you want to choose. And then you decide basis one thing: who are the people you are going to work with? Who are the people who are going to add value to your life? I think I made a right decision at that point in time, where I thought that, with you or with the kind of faculties or the kind of institution that SMHRD was building, I should be a part of it. Because the first that I looked at is that what is the outlook that this is going to give me. So I thought that, being a premier institution, it is going to give me the network that comes along with it. And when you go into a business management field, it is very important to have a network, because tomorrow you have to talk to 10 people. The second thing that I thought of is the discipline of work that it gives me. And I had always heard of the discipline that SMHRD inculcates in its students. So when a Vipassana came in, or when a Art of Living came in, and we went through all of it, I believe that, that journey was very important. We used to have that tagline called journey is the reward.
The reward.
I truly believe that, actually I went through the second phase of Vipassana 10 years after the first experience. And I really believed at that point in time that, at that point in time we might have been, kids or a little more inexperienced to be able to figure out what it will deliver to our lives. But I felt the need for it. So now I today believe that the values that the institution wanted to inculcate was something which was very thought through. And I truly give it to, it is not just the founders or anyone else, but it is also about the people that the institution has. So when, I was actually looking at a couple of institutions and I had to choose from it, I went through the professors list. And I thought that, the kind of people who are there, I'll have to choose from it. And I did that choice. I'm sure you also went through that choice of process, that what are the kind of people you want to choose. So I both made a decision at that point. But I'm glad I was here. The friends that I met, the network that I built, the professors that I met, is something that has given me a value in life. So that is the opening thought that I have. Rest is what you want to hear or what you want to ask.
So okay, let me when you were there at the campus, let me first begin with the campus. When we were there at the campus, I saw you taking leadership position in many of the committee work. And I used to see you at the forefront of many things. And at the same time, I saw you in the classes also. Most of the times people say that if they're engaged in committee work, you will find them slacking in terms of classes. But how did you manage? I mean, this is something which you need to tell our current students as well.
So I'll tell you something. This is something that I have believed always in my life. That, if you don't go beyond your defined work or your JD, you will never be valuable to the organization, because then you will be easily replaceable. Because someone who's equal of your responsibility but coming at a lower cost, then he's going to be replaced. I mean, he's going to replace you. So your job is to not think of your current role, but you have to think through how do you add value to the organization. For me, SCMHRD was always an organization or an institution. So I always thought that in classroom mein reh ke, you can always build your CGPA and other things that I anyway have to do. But you have to take out time to be able to add value to other things where you add, probably, I mean, I used to do alumni work. I used to be the head of alumni relations. So at that point in time, how do I ensure, and that was a very difficult time for us. So how do I ensure that, we get more alumni to come back to us? There is a very prominent statement that used to go at that point in time, that, we are a call center. Because we used to make 500 calls a day to each alumni. And alumni also used to get sometimes very angry that you're again calling me, but because you're calling me, I will come to the campus. So we knew the persistence that we followed. The whole team that we had was an amazing team. So we built a great team. I think what we did, to answer your question, how I managed because I wanted to deliver beyond my, first job or first, whatever my own target was. I always wanted to add value. When you add value to an institution, then institution adds value to you. That was my thought. So if you go beyond your, set boundaries, the other person also will go beyond the set boundaries, and they will also do some things that will probably end up being in your benefit. So there was no harm in doing it. We tried it
Nice.
and we succeeded.
Nice. So, has the same kind of attitude helped you in your work also? I mean, how has that changed with the circumstances, or this continues to be the same?
So I'll tell you what.
Hmm.
My first startup was more or less, I will not call it failure, I'll not call it a success. It was more or less very moderate.
Mhm.
I sold it off in the
Mhm.
sense that where something happened, but I didn't end up becoming a big person. But
Mhm.
what it taught me was to follow the norms.
Mhm.
The norms were, one thing that SCMHID taught me at the end of the day was people management.
Mhm.
How do you ensure that, at certain senior levels, it is not your job to get into processes, it is not your job to get into numbers. If you hire good people, if you hire good, uh, if you hire good people and if you manage them well, they'll do your job. So we end up becoming leaders. I think I learned that part from our stint there. When I built my first startup, I implemented the same policy, and while the business scenario, we were going through a slowdown. It didn't turn out to be very good from business perspective, but we were not unsuccessful also. But today I find that value when I deliver in my work. So there are teams that I build. Those teams are someone, people who actually, even when I go out of those organizations, they still talk to me. They're very, um, how do I put that word across? I don't want to use the word loyal, but they're very close to me.
Mhm.
Those things are something that I value in life. So at some point in time, I think the institution changed my life also. That you feel good talking to 10 people whom you have guided. You have been able to bring value to their lives. You have induced their thought process while you have added value to your own career. That is something which is very important.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, just being very concerned on the career, they have been able, I will be able to say that I feel more good about the part that, I add value to someone's life rather than someone adding value to my life.
Mhm.
And that learning came from the institution. So you remember, I don't know, Subbu always used to say that, you should always have an open hand. You should give more.
Mhm.
So I
True.
think I've learned how to give more rather than to accept more.
Mhm.
I will always try to give more to an institution or an organization that I work with.
Mhm.
So this is what it is.
So I see a lot of very in-depth perspective in whatever you're saying, and that comes out of great amount of experience, and not only out of great amount of experience, but living that experience in reality. So let me ask you a question, which is a very mundane problem for you now, but it's a very genuine problem for the students who are there in the campus.
Okay.
How to go about choosing a specialization? How should they make that choice? Most if HR is the flavor of the day, let me pick HR. But what is your advice on that?
So I'll tell you from my own experience. I can't talk about others' experience.
Yes.
I will tell you from my experience.
Mhm.
I realize we all make choices in life at a given point in time.
Mhm.
Those choices are based on our experience till that point in time. So when I chose to be, I got a pre-placement offer while in college. So I was not even bothered what to choose. So I chose something random where my classes used to start after 2 o'clock. because I used to probably wanted to dedicate the first half to the alumni work, because there was a target that I had that, you have to get more alumni. So that is something that I did. And I'll not be very dishonest about it. I did that because that was something that I had to do. Now, you can make choices. Those choices will be very time bound. Today, you make a choice, you might have a very different opinion after going through that experience of the choices that you make. So my only thing is that I used to be a finance person, then I went into operations, then I went into become a entrepreneur, then I went into become a sales guy, and then I'm finally back doing a risk management role. It doesn't matter. To my experience, it doesn't matter. It is just that what you enjoy at that point in time.
Nice, yeah.
So figure out what you want to do at that point in time. Life is very long.
Yeah. True.
Life is very long.
Well said. Yes. I'm glad you say that, because many a time when I'm talking to students, somebody will suddenly tell me, I don't want to get into this. And I'm like surprised, you don't know after 5 years where you're going to be. So you
I
just
don't
cannot
know.
close yourself.
I used to be a sales guy 5 years back. Then I went on to become a product guy. The business guy 2 years later, when I was running a P&L, and then now I'm a product guy. How do I say that? I was so skeptical. And I'll be very honest about it. When I was given this role, I said I never used to do a product role. I don't even know I have, and I'm not someone who's very detailed with documentation and product, because in product you have to do that. I have never done this. All I was told is that try, figure out, just try it. And I now so love the work that I do. It is about trying out, figuring out. So all I'm saying is that at that point in time, I think if you like someone and it comes to you, fine. If it doesn't come to you, then take whatever life is giving you.
Nice.
Because it is all very, 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 if you take it with stride, it will happen. And if you do well, see, there is always a method in madness. There has to be a method in how you execute. So if you execute well, you don't have to think twice. So see, my job is my job. If I'm told that you have to do X, Y, Z, whether I want to be in finance, whether I want to be in marketing, whether I want to be in operations, whether I want to be in HR, if you know how to get the work done, then it doesn't matter. Then you'll be a good person or a good execution guy always. You can be in any job. That is my take. Now, the rest is on the person.
Yeah, and that's what management education is all about. Becoming a perfect generalist who can just spread across and execute, and absolutely well said. Okay, another issue which is of a lot of importance to students who are there on campus, and it may be important to others who are even outside campus. Currently we're going through this COVID situation, and there's a lot of pressures on the mind, on thoughts, and all kinds of pressures. So we want to ask you, how have you dealt with such moments? How have you dealt with such pressures? How have you dealt with a despondent kind of feeling, so that our students can also learn from your experience?
Now, this is something which is very personal issue that you asked, but I'll be very open towards it, because I actually do not, I'm not someone who actually, shies away from sharing my experience on it. I've been into a depression for 8 years, and I'm very open about it. It is a very tough challenge for anyone to come out of this situation. But it is very important at the same time to be able to figure out how to seek help. The first help that anyone should need is, if there is a challenge, not finding a job is something which is again, as I said, an operational issue. You may not find a job. There are ways that you can find a job, but it is very important not to keep it to yourself and reach out and speak to people. The second problem that I face is that today everything is so formalized that as I said, that we used to have those coffee shop or coffee machine talks, or the water cooler talks, because there were some informal chats that used to happen. Today I have to set up a call with someone, and that call is very object oriented. So it is very important that people who actually, if you are feeling stressed, you should reach out to your friends, family. I have finally decided to wind up Delhi and decided to go back to my parents in Patna. So that is something that I'm doing, because there is no point. I don't have a line of sight that I will probably be in Delhi for next 6 to 8 months. I believe that we will come back sometimes in May. You want to take a decision towards it, but speak to your friends and family. They will help you to give a outlook towards it. So that is one part of it. The second part is that if there is no solution coming out of it, then you have to seek help. And professional help is never bad. I've been through it. I'm happy to help anyone. But my only suggestion will be that I'll also be happy to help, to refer people. Any reference that comes out to it, and I know because I've been through it, both on the jobs front as well as the the stress front. We go through it every day. It is very important that, especially in this situation where you do not have a line of sight, it is very important that you speak to people, figure out kya ho raha hai. You reach out to your network, talk to people. Happy to help. So I reach out to my network when I feel stressed. That is what I do. I don't know about others. Others might have some other experience, but that's what I do. It has given me some amount of solace.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing it with us. I was not aware of it, but thanks a lot for being so open about it and sharing it with us.
I think a lot of us go through a lot of stress, and it is okay, because professional life is not easy. Personal life is also not easy. And it is very important that you actually share it, because unless you share it, if you keep it inside you, then no one will be able to help you.
True.
When you have a medical issue, you go to a doctor, right? When there is a mental issue, then you should see a psychiatrist. What is wrong about it? I don't know.
Absolutely.
There is a problem with our society that I believe in general, that people start judgments around it. But I don't think that is something that people are waking up to. That it should not be something that we should judge. But at this point in time, especially in these times, if there is a mental issue, my only suggestion is to any student, reach out to people, figure out if there is an issue that you're not getting placed, if there's an issue where you're not getting career guidance, speak to your faculty, speak to your seniors, speak to your classmates, figure out what is being done. Because unless you know what is being done in the world or the around you, you will never be able to figure out, and you will never have a solution. So that is my take.
Thank you. I think yes, this is going to be very, very helpful to all the students who suffer silently. I have seen on campus, when you start talking to them, you realize they're suffering silently. And then, the issue gets over and then they are back. But during that period, as you correctly mentioned, they will not seek out help. They'll withdraw into a cocoon, and it damages them to no ends. But good that you give that counter.
They're such bright kids. I believe anyone who comes to SCMHRD is a bright kid at the end.
Absolutely.
So unless you know how to, we come with certain targets. If you don't talk about your aspirations, if you don't talk about your wish list, and if you don't seek help on how to reach them, because at the end of the day, we end up becoming guides, and we all are there. Whether it is faculty, whether it is alumni, we all are ready to help. If you want to know how to reach where you want to be, happy to help. Sometimes it might not work out. Sometimes it will take time. Sometimes it will work out. That is what I wanted to say.
Thank you. Nice. Okay, let me ask you this last question because of that paucity of time that you mentioned.
I'm happy to stay for 10 more minutes.
Okay, great. So, if you are given a choice of going back, and if you're given a reset button, what are the things that you're going to change?
I think I will change few things. I don't think I may. I'm very glad about what I did in SCMHRD. I made very good friends. They gave me a brilliant world perspective. The kind of people that I had around me. And you end up choosing your friends, or, the group partners, or the faculties, or the classes, wherever you end up choosing that. And that is the freedom that an institution should give you. I think I didn't make a mistake in that. I think we had a lot of free hand in doing it, and we made those choices. There are certain things that I will probably change. If you are failing at certain point in time, and I made that mistake, it is good to accept those failures. Don't elongate that. So, for example, when my startup started failing, I had an ego that, no, how can something that I'm building can fail? And then it went on to become a problem for me because I lost a lot of money, and I lost a lot of friends, because then your temperament also goes up because something is failing, right? You as a professional are very egoistic about it. So I will suggest, if something is failing, there is no harm in accepting failure. Because if you don't, then there are larger sufferings that you will have. So I would want to reset the time when I knew that I failed. I probably would want to accept that. I wouldn't want to reset that I did this, because that doing gave me a lot of perspective. So I will still want to do that venture. Is that I would probably want to accept the fact that I should have ended it much earlier. So that is one thing. The second thing that I don't think is we should take is that we should not, we should have better judgments of situations, in the sense that there was a moment where I actually, made few judgments which were not, they were judgments which were purely based on, as an entrepreneur, and I'm again telling you entrepreneur, which were purely based on passion and not on the metrics that were there. So, for example, I had acquired an account, and that account was failing, but I just wanted to continue the account and continue to invest in it. And we lost a lot of money, and that was one of the reasons why the venture went down. So I think keeping the emotions out of business is something which is very critical. But this is very purely towards sporadic judgments. So these are few things that I want to say. In the terms of reset buttons, I would want to reset, the decision making. Probably I would have preponed it. That's how.
The timing.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's after the event, as they say. It's post hoc. That, but somebody who is right now living it. Okay, how should that person make a judgment? Because whatever you have gone through, let's say your passion tells you that you should continue with a certain venture, uh, and in your mind you are making the right kind of judgment. So the
No, so
same
no,
thing. Mm,
you know, this is where the problem that happens.
mm,
Your mind tells you that cut it off because there is something that is the number that is telling you.
mm,
But your passion is telling you something else.
mm,
It's like a toss of the coin.
mm,
That is when you go up and say, "Ki boss, karna kya hai isme?"
mm,
And you ask at least 5 people. You get my so my only point is that when you go up and ask, you might get few opinions, but then at least don't keep it to yourself. Ask 5 people. You will probably have you will probably sleep over it, but don't make a judgment basis what at that point in time the mind and the heart, if they are telling you two different things, they are telling you. Don't make a judgment at that point in time. Let people also give you an opinion, and you can make a better judgment at that point. The 90% of the problem is that we just make judgments basis our own opinions. We don't seek advice.
Correct, correct. Okay, I'm going to ask one more question since you've given us the time. So, I also happen to know that you are a very avid reader. You read a lot.
Yes.
Something which I came to know when you were a student here. Uh, so, how much does this reading, acquiring knowledge, help you in your career?
You asked
You do a
very.
lot of outside reading. That's what I'm.
I do a very outside reading. I don't
Uh,
do anything. So I don't read any career books. I don't read any management books. I precisely dislike, the life skill books. People who come and say, go win by this, and this is the method to win. I don't believe in all that. What I read is, fundamentals. So when I look at a fundamental, I'll probably go and read history. I'll look at how history has been shaped. And then when I look at how the history was shaped, it tells you something about the human behavior. It tells you something about the economic behavior. It tells you something about the societal behavior, right? At the end of the day. Similarly, and I'll give you an example. I was actually reading a book called The Emperor of All Maladies. It is a book on cancer.
Cancer. Yeah. Very
It's a
nice.
very difficult book to read because it is so dark. But it gives you the evolution of that disease. It tells you how the disease is now being diagnosed and kind of being cured. But when you go through it, it's so dark that you feel depressed that how much pain that the man, mankind has to go through. Someone who's there. So, and then it also gives you a perspective that what do you really want to go through this, or do you want to contribute to this, or where does the world is focusing on? So the world is focusing on its longevity. Is the world, and if there is a history that the world focuses on healthcare, or it focuses on, war machines, because every country is now looking at political wars because, have you heard, why do you think England did a war with China in 1835?
Opium wars. Okay?
What was the reason?
So I think cultivation of opium was the reason.
No, it was not the reason.
Okay.
The reason was they wanted their subversion.
Aha.
They didn't want opium. Opium was just a,
Byproduct.
thing, that refined product. But they wanted the subversion. So when you read, you understand how human systems work. At the end of the day, we are all byproducts of organizations.
Absolutely.
And we end up being in organizations. And if you drive business, whether it is political organization, business organizations, or these are social organizations or educational organizations, those are the choices that we make where we want to be. But they are driven by a human nature.
Well said, very nicely put. Some things which, these are the things which all of us feel at our core, that ultimately what is driving organizations, what is driving world, and what is driving the country is some obscure kind of human feeling. We may,
It comes
our
down
brain
to that
may, yeah.
core. If you are able to read it. So
Right.
today, and it also comes down to experience. So I have been able to gather it after 13 years of my experience, right? So it is very important, but I always wanted to understand that. So I was not an HR student, right? So specialization didn't matter. But at the end of the day, today when I sit, I have to manage people. That is what I do. I hire good people and I drive them. I have to every morning get onto a call and tell them कि अच्छा आज ये कर दो, किसी का incentive कर दो and किसी का वो कर दो, and you have to drive it. My core role has become a people manager's role. It goes down to doing the same thing, and the second portion is finance. So these are the two things I believe actually end up driving everything. How early you are able to gather that in your career will drive your growth.
Nice. Great. I think all the students will be benefited a lot by listening
to this. It was a pleasure to talk to you, sir.
And an absolute pleasure.
Looking forward. I was actually looking forward to. So I don't know if you know, but I actually said, who do I know in the current faculty?
I know I'm the oldest person around that day.
It's great to see, even the background. It gives me so many memories.
Yeah. I'm sitting next to that playground of yours, and the canteen is right opposite.
Yeah, I have so many memories I can actually relate to.
Nice.
So I wish, this ends soon. I come and वो कैंटीन में जो मीठा वाला सांभर खिलाते हैं, वो अजीब सा सांभर, मीठा सांभर खिलाएंगे. But I wish to have it.
Great. So hope to see you, Divyendu. Nice talking to you.
It was very nice talking to you, sir. I hope I was able to provide some insights.
Yes. A very different kind of insight, and something which is definitely going to benefit the students, whoever is listening. So
my
thanks
only
a lot.
take is that I might have talked very high level. Just that my talk was because operational and everything else you can always figure out, right? अच्छा ठीक है, आज सुबह उठ के 5 काम करना है. But the goals of the life, the goals of your, or the objectives of the life are something that an institution teaches you. So, बाकी सब तो हो जाएगा. And that is what I learned at SCM.
Great.
Make great friends, make good network, understand people. I think these were the high-level things that I took away from the institution, and I hope everyone does that.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. I think now the alumni team will propose a vote of thanks. So I leave it to them now.
Thank you, Divyendu, for joining us for this session. Your advice to reach out to people whenever we are in need of support is something we all should keep in our minds during our difficult times. Also, our sincere gratitude to Manish sir for joining us for this session and making it so engaging. Thank you.
I'm glad he joined. I had made a request. I'm glad he joined.
Thanks a lot. It has been a pleasure talking to you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you to the team for inviting me, at least giving me the opportunity to speak. But my take to the students is that if there is anything that I can help with, let me know. There are times when you are also friends, but whatever we as an alumni can do, what we call the alma mater is always a responsibility that we believe we should serve to. And we all believe that. We will be happy to help.
Right, sir. Again, sincere thanks for joining us, sir. You have responded and wish to be part of this interview. So we were really happy and glad about it. Thank you, sir.
Great. See you soon. Bye.
See you. Bye.
Okay.